Hello, I'm Kym Zest, and this here is Pigeon. Welcome. I see there are 3 of you tuned in tonight. Thank you for joining me. If you joined early and are foam rolling, feel free to continue to do so throughout this intro. You might also use this time to finish setting up. I will not be playing any music, but you are welcome to on your end. And you'll want several different kinds of props. I am a big fan of having a couple of soft, flexible props. I am a big fan of these blankets, yoga mats, and towels also work well. And then thicker, soft props. I've got these couch cushion pillows. And then stiffer props. I've got yoga blocks and foam roller. Books and Tupperware also work. The benefit of doing this practice on YouTube Live is not being able to watch each other and compare or judge, so that you can really focus on just your own practice, making it your own, yet knowing that we've still set aside this time for a shared experience. We will begin with a short movement flow, followed by a seated meditation. Tonight we will do 3 yin postures before a final relaxation. The pose, if any of the poses I present don't suit you, feel free to do an exercise, posture, or meditation of your choice as a substitute. There will also be opportunities between yin poses to do postures or stillness of your choice. During this time, there's no right position or correct alignment because there's going to be no force applied and there's no progression goal. For each yin posture, I'll suggest several different setups to feel lines of fascial tension. And I'll begin with very few props and then add props and add variations. During my demonstration, I really suggest using that time to explore different propping, different setups, different positions, even if you're very familiar with the position. Once I finish my demo, I'll return to a seated position to watch the time for 2 to 3 minutes. The position you land in should feel safe, that you can release all muscular effort and tension so that you can experience quiet sensations. This is a practice of patience, stillness, and subtlety. Let's begin. First, by moving my cat prop. I'm gonna begin in a hands and knees position, and I'm just gonna set myself up so my knees can be padded. In a comfortable hands and knees position, I'm gonna begin with some neck circles. So I'm gonna start by looking over my shoulder and then rotating up, looking as high up as I can while trying to maintain some tension and integrity through my spine and core. Look over the other shoulder, and then tucking the chin, tracing the chin along my collarbone, and then back to the original shoulder, looking up, nice and slow over the other shoulder, tracing the collarbone. Notice that I'm not just dropping my head. And then I'm going to reverse directions, going back along the collarbone, over a shoulder, looking over the shoulder, looking up towards the ceiling, tracing with your eyeballs, and you might experience a different sensation whether you keep your teeth together or not. I'm gonna go one more time. There we go. And now I'm going to do circles with my shoulders. I'm going to begin by squeezing my shoulder blades together. And then I'm going to take that squeezed shoulder position and squish my shoulders towards my ears. And then drive my hands into the ground, spreading the space between my shoulders, activating in my chest muscles, sliding the shoulders back towards my hips. And then completing the circle, squeezing shoulder blades together. Shoulder blades together, shoulders towards ears, pressing into the ground, spreading the space between your shoulder blades and your back. Shoulders towards hips, and back into squeezing. And then I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to keep the shoulders towards my hips and press into the ground, spreading between my shoulder blades, up towards my ears, squeezing towards shoulders, toward my spine, making one more circle, nice and slow, nice and big. And now just taking a moment, wiggling it out. I'm going to do circles over my wrists, letting my wrists be the pivot point. I'm going to rock my shoulders as far forward as is comfortable, feeling a stretch in my forearms and my palms, and then rock over to one direction, keeping my palms on the ground, and then sitting my hips back, taking pressure off of my wrists, reaching back, pressing into the ground, and then reaching over the other way, keeping my palms on the ground, as opposed to letting my hands come up. Coming back over the top. I'll go one more big slow circle before we'll switch directions. So one more time round, nice and big, reaching. And then other way. Circling over the wrists, stretching through our hands that get so much work throughout the day. And then just coming back to a neutral place, taking a little moment if you want to wiggle the hips side to side, wave through the spine. And then I'm going to take one hand and I'm going to reach up towards the ceiling, reaching up, opening in my chest, squeezing shoulder blades together, opening through my ribs, twisting through my hips, and then I'm going to dive through and I'm going to wrap my arm around as if I'm going to reach towards my back. Do that just a couple more times. You can add a breath. Inhale, reaching up towards the ceiling. Exhale, diving through, tightening and twisting. Take another round or two at your own pace. When you're ready, coming back to hands and knees, taking any movement, little transition. Then we'll do the other side. So taking the other arm, reaching it up towards the ceiling, feeling a big opening through the chest, through the shoulders, through the ribs and the hips, abdomen, and then diving through, really reaching and twisting, squeezing in tight, and then flowing back and forth, adding a breath, inhaling, exhaling, flowing at your own pace. Taking another round or two. And a little gentle time. Little transition. And then we'll sit the hips back towards the heels. And you might leave the hands extended where they were, or you might come down onto your forearms, whichever feels more comfortable for you. You can rest the shins or hips however you need to feel comfortable there. And then we're going to end up making big circles with one arm. I'm going to take one arm, I'm going to reach across my body, allow my hips to twist, and then up and over, arcing back, looking behind, reaching behind, before sweeping the ground, coming back around. Big circles. Leaving the hips and hand otherwise anchored. Breathing evenly throughout, moving at your own pace. Taking another circle or two. Then other arm, taking it across, reaching across, getting a big stretch through the side of your body, then reaching up and over. Big action through the shoulder. And sweeping along the ground. Breathing throughout. Taking another round or two. And then any transition of your choice. And then we'll get ready for our seated meditation. So you can sit in any position that is comfortable for you. For our seated meditation, we're not aiming to feel any particular stretch. You just want to sit with a tall, upright spine with little distraction as possible. So you can sit in a chair with your feet on the ground and just a tall, upright spine. If you're sitting on the floor, you can have just the legs out in front of you in any kind of variation, or you can sit with the legs crossed, or you can sit with the legs folded back. And in any of those cases, sitting with your hips propped up a little bit or a lot, even, right? Finding different ways to sit so that you can feel nice and tall, and so that you feel comfortable in the hips, ankles, knees. You might also be patting more underneath any of the contact spots with the floor. Allowing yourself to make any final adjustments. Palms can be down, up, or clasped in your lap. Eyes closed or a soft, steady gaze on the floor in front of you. Giving yourself this time to settle in, to put aside all the other things in your life. You can imagine tucking them away, putting them on the shelf. You can pick them up later. Giving yourself this time to stop trying and striving and doing and changing. Allowing body and mind to be at ease, at rest. Allowing yourself to observe without need to change. The urge for action, movement, adjustment, discomfort is normal. See if you can let it pass. Most urges to move and to do are not necessary. Bring your mind back to your breath. Let your breath be all the movement that you need. Your mind will wander. Simply observe where it wants to go, but don't follow it. Letting your breath anchor your mind even while it wanders. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Noticing the change in movement and sensation. And then nod your chin towards your chest. Opening your eyes and re-inviting movement. Maybe rolling wrists, maybe some side bends, or some twists. Giving you a chance to move the legs, unfold them wherever they were. Always give yourself a little time to give your feet a little squeeze. And then we'll set up for our first Yin posture. So for our first Yin posture, we're going to feel lines of fascial tension that we're looking to release, and feel gentle stress and stretch in along your spine, up through the back of your neck, possibly into the forehead, also possibly through the glutes, depending on your leg position, possibly into the groin and thighs, and then along the tops of the ankles, shins, tops of your feet. So without any real props other than just a little padding, knees together, arms back. Some options are simply to open the knees. Toes are still together, hips are still back towards the heels, but with knees wide. Another option is to just position the arms in any other variation. And then there are lots of options for different propping. So for example, if the stress in the ankles is too great, or if you want to have more room for your head to come forward, I can simply add propping. I don't want to disturb my cat. I can add propping. There. And add a little extra thickness here. And so now I've raised my shins and reduced the sort of the angle of stress on my ankle, raising my shins, giving my head more room to come forward. In other cases, you might find that coming that far forward, or there's too much stress on the forehead, and you can prop the forehead. You might find that you need more room in the knees or hips. I'm just gonna come out of this a little bit. So if my ankles aren't the limiting factor, but I wanna prop up, I can prop up underneath the hips, lifting my hips here, and possibly giving myself support under the belly. And I can again arrange the arms so that they feel at rest. And then you can certainly Take any variations of the different knee position, knees closer together, knees wider, arms back, arms forward or at the side, and then just different ways to prop the shins, the hips, the chest and belly, and the head. There is no wrongness or shame or that it's less than to prop. The propping is a tool so that you can feel fully at ease, so that you can feel safe, so that you can feel the lines, long lines of fascial tension where it feels best for you. Propping can make something less intense or more intense. So keep exploring and use your props so that you can find a place that you can stay in for about 3 minutes. If it's too intense, it won't feel safe to stay there. At the same end, you want to find a place in which you do find lines that you can release and feel openness in. So settling in. Letting go of the fidgeting and fussing. Wherever you have landed is now a good place to be. With each breath, allowing your body to melt into your props, melting into the floor, melting into itself. Always returning to your breath to help center you. Using your breath to help you observe your body, to observe the changes without needing to force or create changes, to simply see what arises. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. And then using your breath to help you gently come out, using your arms to help you sit up gently and slowly. Then you might choose just a neutral place to lie down or seated to simply observe the effects of that posture. You might choose more active counter movement. Taking whatever calls to you, whatever you feel like you need. Using this time to be more observant to the sensations in your body will give you a better sense that you can trust when if you feel like you're tight in one area to find length and stretch that area. It's when we are constantly moving and not paying attention that we don't feel like we can trust, just follow what we need, what we are feeling our bodies need. So these transition times should be good times for you to find that trust in what you need and follow that. So now we're going to get ready for our next yin posture, in which again I'm going to have to move Pigeon. Hopefully it's okay, Pigeon. Oh, or she'll who knows what she'll be up for. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna do a yin posture to open in the front of the body, particularly in the hips, from the pelvis, front of pelvis area, all the way down towards the quads and up towards the abdomen slightly. This will be the area, and if you've done this practice with me before, traditionally we just lift the hips, we place something, anything, it could even just be a rolled towel underneath the sacrum, underneath your tailbone, not the spine, and then extend both legs. We're going to play with a different variation today. Oftentimes when we are in this position, depending on the placement of the support and the tightness of the hips, we get a lot of spine arch. The stress can be too great, and you take strain to the spine instead of feeling openness in the fascial tissues in the front of the hips. So to do that, if we simply raise a leg, raising the leg allows to help hold the pelvis and spine in a more neutral position. Sometimes just lifting the leg is enough. Other times just gently holding the leg with a hand, or you could hold with a blanket or a strap. It depends on the height of the propping underneath your hips and where you want this leg. It sometimes could just be on the ground bent with the other leg getting the stretch, and then depending on your situation, I have used different things to prop my bent leg. So the leg that is being bent towards the chest is simply acting to hold the spine and pelvis in a more neutral space so that you can feel more opening and length in the front of the hip. So you can really play with the height that's underneath your sacrum. So whether it's a block or a folded towel or a bunch of pillows, making sure it's supporting your hips and not your spine. And then playing with how you prop the bent leg so that you feel this opening in this front hip. So lots of options there. Go ahead and figure out what's going to work best for you depending on what you have to support you. And then always keeping in mind that outside of this time, that I hope that you use these practices and positions on your own outside of this Sunday evening. There might be a different place in your home with different objects or different furniture that can help prop you. And now settling in wherever you have landed. Whatever position you're set yourself up in, allow your body to sink in. Let go of holding, protecting, effort. Breathing space into your tight places. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. You might use these breaths to help you really savor this position, to savor those places that you've opened, found space. You might use these breaths when you're ready to gently come out. When you're ready, from wherever you are, having both legs bent, both feet flat on the floor, pressing into the floor with your feet, engaging your glutes to lift your hips, to free your prop. And then you might simply lie here in stillness, or you might choose more active counter movement, swishing the knees side to side, hugging the knees in, stretching the legs up. Taking whatever movement calls to you, like petting your pet. And then when you're ready, setting up on your other side. So even just, so I could, for example, just roll up my blanket and use my blanket as a prop underneath my sacrum. Remember, because we are here a long time, you do not need to start out with an aggressive sensation of stretch. Just finding a place where you feel just the beginning of tension. You find a spot And then allowing yourself to sink in, figuring out in which way you want to be supported. Making any adjustments. Sometimes it's finding the more aggressive stretch and then backing off. And then settling in. Letting go of the fight, letting go of fighting yourself, fighting a position, fighting your environment. Always letting your breath be enough. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Maybe using these breaths to really settle in. To let go of any residual tension. Using your breaths to really explore and feel the new spaces. And then when you're ready, using these breaths to gently come out, being careful as you reawaken activation in your muscles, letting the sensations that you've discovered guide what you need, what will feel good, what will bring you into balance. And then we can just stay on your back. I'm going to just recenter myself in my space a little bit. I'm going to stay on your back for our last posture. We're going to do a twist and feel lines of fascial tension in your body, primarily through the torso and the hips, possibly through the thighs, the tops of the thighs, and possibly up through the chest and shoulders. So I'm going to start by crossing right leg over left and just start with a loose cross, crossing ankle over knee. And then if I'm right over left, letting my legs fall to the left. And with just that gentle fall, again, feeling openness and tension in my torso and in my hip. I might choose my legs to be sort of further away or tighter up towards my chest. I might choose my arm up overhead, a variety of positions. Or I might choose to tighten up the cross and go knee over knee, right knee over left knee. And again, I can do that in further away or up towards my chest. And I can always, again, decide where to put this hand. In this case, in this twist, I would need to support underneath my arm with a pillow. I might also choose to support my knees. And you can support under ankles, under knees, under hips. You can support in different places. So taking that twist that feels like the right spot for you. And settling in, supporting yourself so that you can truly melt into the floor. Feeling supported by the floor, supported by the props. Let your muscles hang off of your bones. Trust that without any effort, you still hold together. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Using these breaths, help you gently come up and out. And as with before, using this time to transition however feels best for you. And when you're ready, setting up your other side, crossing left over right and allowing legs to go to the right. And this side might need something entirely different. No need to create or force symmetry. Your body is not perfectly symmetrical. And this is a time in which you can find wherever it just feels best. Let that be your guide. And that will, in the long run, help you create symmetry in other practices. So finding tighter or further away. Play with propping. And in this case right now, I'm using my prop as just my other hand to just hook over my foot to help hold it in place. Takes very little effort. You can be endlessly creative with different ways to prop. I've often set up myself so that I can use furniture, heavy furniture, and leaned against it. Breathing in, opening up. How soft can you be? Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Coming out. And before our final relaxation, you might just simply use this time to get more cozy, propping underneath knees, supporting your head, finding an eye cover, or you might use this time to take any movement. And eventually just settling in, feeling comfortable, feeling at ease, no stretch, no tension. Simply breathing into the floor. Breathing relaxation into the far corners of your body. Maybe it's your toes, your fingers, behind your eyes, your jaw. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Using these breaths to reactivate movement, perhaps wiggling fingers and toes, rolling wrists and ankles, stretching out long on your back before curling into it tight as a ball. Rolling onto your side, using your arms to help you sit up gently. We'll conclude with 3 breaths together. Together we will inhale through the nose and then exhale audibly out the mouth. Together, in through the nose. In through the nose. Last one. Thank you to the 2 of you who have joined me this evening. Please share your experience or feedback. You can do so in the chat of this live feed. You can also email me, Kym, Kym, @zested.net. You're welcome to go to our website to join our mailing list or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. And then we'd love your support to continue this program. So you can do donations to paypal.me/zested. You can also share this with friends and family and spread the word. Thank you so much. Have a peaceful night.